According to the National Association for Realtors, existing home sales in the United States are down 0.2% over last year. Add to that, the Bureau of Labor Statistics just announced that unemployment has risen to 9.5% and is still climbing. With those statistics in mind, you can understand why today's remaining homeowners have decided to do most of their renovation and remodeling projects themselves. Tonight, I'm going to teach you how to join the ranks as a do-it-yourselfer and teach you how to install an interior pre-hung door. For 20 years, I've worked as a carpenter for Lowe's and Home Depot as an installer. I've also worked with Masonite, the leading manufacturer of doors worldwide, and the people that gave me the pretty pictures I'm going to show you tonight. You're going to need several tools for your installation project. You're going to need a hammer. You're going to need a utility knife. You're going to need nails and a nail set to sink the nails past the surface of the wood. You're going to need putty and a putty knife. You're going to need a level, preferably one much larger than this, and you're going to need a tape measure. Tonight with these, I'm going to teach you how to measure the opening and determine the size needed for your installation. I'm going to teach you how to measure that. I'm going to teach you the steps of installation and how to finish the job. Now, let's go to measuring the opening. Once you have removed your old door from the opening and the existing jamb material, you're going to measure two dimensions on the door. You're going to measure the width from stud to stud, and then you're going to measure the height from floor to header. That will give you the rough opening dimension. Rough opening because there's no jamb material in the opening. Once you have the rough opening dimension, you'll be able to determine the size of the actual door slab you're going to need by subtracting 2 inches from either dimension. 2 inches for the jamb material and the gap you'll need between the jamb and the rough opening. For instance, if you had a rough opening of 32 by 82, you would have a slab dimension of 30 by 80 inches. Now, we've determined what size we need. Now we need to determine the handing of the door. I like to use the butt-to-butt method. Don't laugh, it's actually a technical term. You put your butt on the hinge side of the opening, and whichever way the door will swing is the handing of the door. For instance, this would be left hand, and this would be right hand. Armed with that information, the size of the door you need, and the handing, you can go to any retailer locally, Home Depot, Lowe's, what have you, and purchase the door you need. Once you've got it home, we'll start the installation process with step 1, placing the unit in the opening. You want to start placing the bottom in first, so you wiggle as little as possible. Make sure that the edge of the jamb material is flush with the drywall. The reason for that is once you've installed the door and you're putting the door casing on the jamb, it doesn't sink in or pop out. You get a nice flat opening. Once you've got the door in place, we're going to secure the hinge side jamb. Place shims, which are these fun little wedge pieces of wood, behind the jamb, between the stud and the jamb, to support it where you're going to nail. You put 2 hinges behind each hinge, take your level, check to make sure that the door jamb is plumb or straight up and down, and then nail through the jamb and the shims into the stud material behind it. Once you've secured the hinge side, then you move on to the lock side jamb. You do the very same thing with the shims in 3 places, 6 and 6 inches from the top and bottom, and right behind the lock. Again, check to make sure that the jamb is plumb, and nail through the jamb, the shims, into the stud material. Once you've secured the lock side, then you want to secure the top. Again, with the shims, in the 2 places you're going to nail, making sure that you don't bow the head jamb down to interfere with the door slab. Then nail it in place. Congratulations, you just installed an interior door. Now a little bit about finishing the project. Once you've got the door installed, you're going to need to cut off the shims. You take your razor knife and you score the shim straight down along the edge of the jamb. Once you've done that, all you have to do is just pop the shim and it'll break right off, flush with your door jamb. After that, you can install your door casing, sink your nails with your nail set, past the face of the wood, putty it, let it dry, sand, and paint. After that, all you have to do is install your lock set, and you've got a well-hung interior door. So tonight, I told you a little bit about the tools needed to install an interior door, how to measure the opening and determine the swing, the steps needed to install an interior door, and a little bit about finishing the project. Armed with this information, you too can join the army of do-it-yourselfers and install an interior door. Thank you very much.